having the opportunity to come and share a little bit about what sales enablement is doing. I see we have like a wide variety of team members here, so I'll just let you guys know that we did keep it high level, so that way we could give a overview to everybody that may not be as intimate with CRM or what we do in sales enablement like some of our other team members are. So let's get going. There may be, I hit the button. All right, here we go. So just to start off with our purpose, taking over the team and coming in and helping lead it, I wanted to make sure that we knew what our purpose was, and also being able to relay that purpose to our partners and to the organization as well. So in the simplest terms, we are working to initiate client relationships, by creating meaningful connections, in hopes that allows the LES the capacity to be attentive to clients. So trying to get as much off their plate that we can, so that they could be more customer forward facing. So everything that we do, we always try to drive back to that purpose. Every strategy, every process, does it help push that initiative forward? So going through, we'll continue to utilize that and work through that. So we've had a lot of changes within the enablement department over the past couple of months, really year. So I thought it'd be a good idea just to give you guys the layout of the team, who's who and who's doing what. And so I'm going to skim through the first one because it's going to be my picture, and and that's so awkward to present yourself. So I'm here to help provide strategic direction, work with our partners, and hopefully drive the team to be successful for our LESs and the organization as a whole. Amanda is very new to the team. She started, I want to say, about 3 weeks ago, and she has jumped right in, hit the ground running, and we're super excited to have her come be a part of the sales enablement team. And she has a ton of background and experience in Salesforce, and so we're super excited about that. But she will be providing CRM technical support, data analytics, reporting, and CRM training. So some of you have met her, and some of you I think have yet, but she's amazing, and I can't wait for you guys to spend some time with her. I'm currently recruiting our sales enablement coordinator. We've repositioned this role just a little bit, but in general, they will support lead generation, CRM functionality, and work in the back end on the system data integrity. So for now, that's me, but until very soon, we'll hopefully have someone recruited and in that seat. Taryn is our client engagement specialist lead. She's supporting the Northeast, the Carolinas and Virginias, Blankenship, and the Florida studio. Taryn also has stepped up hugely in the past year, and she's also driving some of the strategy and training behind our client engagement team. And so a lot of the documentation coming out and the recaps, that is a big part of Taryn's initiative, and helping her grow the client engagement role as a whole, and push that initiative forward. So we're super excited to have Taryn. Abby is supporting our Midwest. So she is supporting Texas in the Heartland studio, and she is also hitting the ground running. She is working with LESs and doing kickoff meetings and prospecting and just jumping right in. And she's also additional talent that we're super excited to recently have acquired, and she has been a huge asset to the team and jumping in. Matt is our West Coast boy that lives in Florida, but he is supporting the California, the Pac Northwest, and the Four Corners studios, and he is just on it. So I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to meet any of the team members or work with them, but they're super driven, super excited, and just really focused on jumping into sales enablement and helping us, restructure a little bit and push that change that we need to continue to move and grow forward. So I'll pause right there. Does anyone have any questions? Any comments? All right. Okay. So I'll keep going. So I could probably pick one of these topics and spend like an hour talking about each one of them, but I don't have the time to do that. So what I did is, what is sales enablement? So I'm going to go over quickly just all the things that we're either driving, partnering, or supporting in some functionality within the organization, not just within the team, but also with the sales team, and also from an organization perspective. So let me, sorry, sometimes my buttons want to work, sometimes they don't. So obviously, we are a big initiative of sales and helping them drive that. Prospecting, we manage and lead that initiative. CRM, we are the big forces behind that, setting it up, getting the system better. That's a huge one on our plate right now. That's part of Wicked Tuna. So we're going to see a lot of change, a lot of improvement happening there. Training, we're continuing to evolve that with Amanda's experience coming in. We are going to just build on with what Nelisa has already established for us, and continue to provide those resources for the organization. Operations is a big part of our initiative as well, and we will continue to drive that. Marketing, we partner with marketing pretty consistently, and actually we're working towards even building that relationship, especially when we convert to the lead gen. Marketing and sales enablement will be walking hand in hand. Data, we know our data again is going through that Wicked Tuna initiative, and so we're going to see hopefully a ton of improvement. I won't say hopefully, we will see a ton of improvement, and being able to connect the dots and just get the data out to our team members more effectively and efficiently, that will better suit the needs of the business. Content and collateral, we have a lot of good insight and a lot of good intel on the back end. So again, really working on bringing that forward in a way that we can help and partner with marketing to push that content or collateral that maybe we don't realize that we need, or that we actually need to push forward. So again, really great initiative there with marketing. Our analytics, we're always looking at refining it. How can we do things, get the data better? How can we get it cleaner? How can we push it to you guys so that it is actionable, I think is the best word to say there. The playbook, we're always looking at how do we take that analytics and then put it in a strategy that's actually effective within the system. Leads, again, when we redo the system, we will actually have lead generations, which is super exciting. And we will be able to prospect more effectively, I think, for the studios and the LESs to hopefully really drive those opportunities for them. And then obviously technology, we're always pushing technology, trying to see what we have, what we don't have, what we need, and how can we utilize that to just make us more effective and more efficient. So in a nutshell, there's probably a couple more that I could have put on here, but collectively, this is kind of what sales enablement has their hand in. So resources, what are we using? How are we looking at it? What are we looking to really develop that strategy and take that raw data into something that can create actionable insights for us? And so we use CRM, which is our customer relationship management system. And I'm going to go over just really quick what a traditional CRM is, just for those team members that may not be aware of the system that we currently use. So it manages customer relationships across the customer life cycle. So everything from the beginning of the account to current status. Like, our goal is to account for all of it. That includes, any documents, any sales documents, marketing that we've done with them, when we have e-commerce, any e-commerce interaction, and any customer service interactions. Ideally, you want it all documented in the account in CRM. It also focuses on not just the organization, like not just the account level, but the individual relationships with the people across the life cycle. So what that means, it includes like the account, the stakeholders, our internal team, members, any manufacturers, suppliers. So anybody that has had any contact with that account, supported that account in any way, ideally, you would want all of that documented in your CRM system. Additionally, new customers. So how are we marketing to them? How are we winning their business? How are we providing them support or any additional services throughout the relationship? We would also want to document all of that in CRM as well. And for the most part, there's a good chunk of this that we are already doing. And there are some areas for improvement and some areas that we will be starting. So just in a general sense, when we talk CRM, that is, we're really looking at capturing the whole life cycle of the account, the whole scope of it, not just from a isolated perspective, maybe within departments, but generally we want to see everything from a very high bird's eye view of what is happening with that customer in that account. So some of our key data points that we utilize and work with, the first one is MCH. This is where we get all of our account names, our stakeholder contacts, and we also are able to pull in key stakeholder roles that allow us to create targeted strategies for marketing, campaigns, trade shows. Another big one is the district. MCH uses the district NCES number as well, which is we use that to actually set up the accounts. I believe not just on our side, but also accounting side as well. So that's a great data point to be able to have data and communication connect with each other to ensure that we are aligning accounts correctly. And we do have this integrated into CRM. And so that populates consistently for us. I want to say it's a daily update. So as soon as MCH gets that data, it should be hitting our system as well. And so, but I will say we will see a little delay. Sometimes there is delays if it's like a new, like let's just say it's a new district, a new site, a new school. There is sometimes a delay of getting that, until they register, until it goes through the federal government into MCH and then into us. There is a little delay sometimes. So there are often times where some of our LESs may know about locations and sites before we may get the actual number or account. And that's just, the paperwork trail that it has to go through to hit us. But as soon as it's available, like I said, our system is getting updated on a daily basis. School Bond Finder is another key data resource that we utilize. And this is where we get all of our K-12 bonded funded capital improvement projects. Some of the key things that we're looking at there, or we're able to identify, are like the districts, the bond status, vote dates, the scopes of the projects. This is where we pull all that information in and we are able to slice it and dice it. And you guys see a lot of this information is in CRM in the bonds tab, but also your growth strategy presentations and the playbook that we were speaking about. A lot of this information plays early on in there that we provide the MDs and the growth team to kind of help drive that initiative or whatever strategy direction that they're working on within the studios and within each for each LES. So Dodge is our third one. I have a love-hate relationship with Dodge, but they provide all of the specific key information for education contract projects. So this data is really good because it allows us to connect not just with the project, but the people, the firms. This is where we get our architect information and really understand the scope of the work and what's happening with each project. So it's really cool to see the bond initiative come through and then be able to correlate the projects that are associated with those bonds and be able to see how they're playing out and how we can get those into the system in a strategic way that could really support an LES in finding those key opportunities for them. And this is also an API integration into CRM. So we get the data in, but I will say there is a manual process that we currently are working through that we will hopefully automate in the upcoming future, that we have a specific strategy around to get it into the system in an effective way. So I spoke about that a little earlier when we look at a project and then validate the account to see if there is account LES activity or non-LES activity. So those are some of the key things, our manual kind of strategic initiatives that we do to ensure that the data is being pushed through effectively and efficiently. Oh, let me go back. Sorry. Was there any questions about any of our data sets or data points that we're currently utilizing? Anything in the chat, Amy? Are we good?
I think we're all set. You had said this
Okay.
gets updated. Our data is updated regularly. Is that correct?
Yeah, each one of them is a little different. Dodge, I will say, is a weekly update just because it goes through a lot of filtering. And so we want to make sure that, it's getting filtered in correctly. It's not just dumping things in. So this one's a weekly update. So we get it every Monday and then we work through it. And usually, just again, due to the manual touch points that we're doing, we try to get it in the system visible, either as a prospect or an opportunity, usually within a week to 2 weeks. It should be a week. Right now we're about 2 weeks just because some of our data was getting held up, and so we got a big push recently, so we're working through all of that right now. So support, how do, sales enablement provides the sales teams with tools and resources needed to reach their goals. So in other words, how do we take all that data and how do we push it through the organization in different ways so that way we can actually utilize this and for actionable, sorry, I went blank. So that we can actually utilize the data to pursue opportunities and generate leads. So we do it a couple of different ways. Again, you'll see that come in as a project. We're looking at the K-12 owner, the valuation, whether it's scheduled or unscheduled, the target finish date, to align it with the prospecting time that we're currently on, and then also looking at the scope of the work. So at every level, we're really trying to validate that information and ensure that any opportunity that we're pushing through, is a qualified opportunity. It is, there is FF&E there. It is a meteor, ideal, project that we should be working on. Bonds, again, this comes to you guys in a couple of different ways. Like I spoke about earlier, in the bond information, again, we're able to look at what districts are bonded or up for bond or have recently passed bonds. Those are some of the bond statuses that we're able to strategically identify. So if a bond passes this year, there is some strategy around when we know typically they're monetizable, and when we should start calling on them and when we should start working on them. Vote dates, we have that visibility as well. So November is usually a big month for us due to elections, local elections. So we typically get a really good pool of data there. And then again, validating the scope of that work for the bond and what that initiative is. All of those key things help us identify opportunities for the organization. Architect is another key one that we're able to push out to the LESs and the team. So there are many strategies centered around architects. We're able to identify their locations, the projects that they're working on, and the scope of the work as well. So we get a lot of requests for architect digs, or if an LES is going to go visit an architect. We typically like to pull all the projects that are associated with that architect for that LES within their accounts, so that when they go have that conversation, they can talk about any and all opportunities that may be available with that architect to be as effective as possible in those meetings. So any questions there? Okay, so how does all of that translate? So it comes in as an opportunity that if an LES or DMD or an LEA is active in that account, the project is inputted into CRM for them directly. So again, we are not trying to get in the middle or disrupt any current relationships or any current partnerships that the LES or the sales team may have within an account. So at that point, we're simply there to just let the LES know, hey, there's another project that came up with this account that you may or may not be aware of, and our goal is just to get it out in front of you and make sure that you have visibility to that opportunity additionally. It's going to come, the other way will be a lead or a prospect. So again, we only tend to work on right now accounts that are actually assigned to LESs. And then if there is no activity within the account, so again, no phone calls, no prior opportunities that had been worked, no prospecting had been done, that will go straight to the client engagement team for them to work for the LES. And again, we just, I understand that there was maybe some lack of visibility and some misalignment. So the past 3 or 4 months, we've been doing strategic meetings with between the client engagement specialist and the LES to go over those prospects and ensure that there's no misalignment. And also it really helps the client engagement team to make those calls on behalf of the LES in a more effective way and a more strategic way that is aligned with whatever the LES's strategy is or positioning is. It really allows for a good conversation and good collaboration there. So it'll come in that way as well. Data request. So another way that we push this information out is through a couple of different data requests. The sales team often requests data analysis of additional potential projects. So sometimes an LES will hear about a project or find out about a project prior to us seeing it as a Dodge project. So we have the ability to kind of go in there and expand our traditional scope of how it comes in and broaden that a little bit and see if we can find any additional information about any lead or any project that an LES may be aware of. We also do bond analysis. So if an LES is aware, or again, maybe has a lead that an account is has a bond, is pushing a bond, is trying to get a bond, we're able to go in and again broaden that scope a little bit of our filtering and see what's available or what information that we can provide. Bond information is also utilized again in our growth strategy presentations, and I believe in our investment grade market strategy. Did I say that right, Cindy? Our investment grade analysis that we do in terms of growth and how we're expanding as an organization. So that bond information is a really key player of data that we use kind of throughout all areas of, from strategic planning all the way down to, account level execution. We're looking at that bond information and really trying to track it and align it accordingly. And again, our architect analysis, our architect digs, we're able to provide you reports. Recently, on your accounts tab in CRM, you can now look up an architect name and you will be able to see all the projects that are associated with that architect. I don't think that's been widely shared yet. So we're getting that all together and we'll be pushing that information out here pretty quickly. But all of that is available in CRM to the LES. And then reports and KPIs. So sales enablement also monitors key data points across the organization for many different initiatives. So there are key data points that we send to the leadership team. from kind of what's happening with opportunities or prospects or the data itself, how it's coming in, down to, individual KPIs that I think you guys see some of those dashboards on your dashlets, some of those reports in dashlets on your dashboards in CRM. So we really try to pull that together and report back out on it just to ensure that, we're getting the ROI, our data is working for us, it's being maintained. We're working with the IT dev team constantly to bridge any gaps or any data sets that may need improvement. So we're constantly, not just analyze it, but also trying to report on it and drive growth that way as well. So I know that was a lot. So is there any questions there?
We do have a couple of questions in the chat, Karine, and I would just say, since we're at our 30 minutes of where you've done an excellent job explaining about you and your team. So we want to say thank you for sharing out who you guys are. And for those of you that are like, all right, now I know, and you can hop off. And for those of you that want to stay on and have some more questions for Karine, we can do that shortly. So thank you, Karine, so much. And we hope you guys, the rest of you who are hopping off, have a wonderful afternoon. This recording will be on SharePoint, and we'll have a takeaway that you'll be able to see that as well up on SharePoint in the Meteor University. So thank you.